Hey there, welcome back to our Elden Ring lore playthrough. Now we are currently at the Carian Study Hall connected to the Divine Tower. However, when we last came through here and we went and we explored, there was no way for us to actually progress up to the top. We kind of got up to this like higher level, up into some rafters. There was a teleporting Miriam, I think, and she was messing around with us and trying to kill us. And ultimately we just couldn't progress all the way, but there was like a weird inverted spot that looked a lot like some of those sections we see in the Eternal Cities hanging from the ceiling. Now, we did get an item from Ronnie that is supposed to help us find the discarded flesh. Carian inverted statue. Statuette of a scholar with ground and sky inverted. Reveals the hidden form of the Carian Study Hall, which connects to the Divine Tower. To unveil the secret, affix it to the pedestal at the Celestial Globe. And remember, there is a ghost here, and what does he say? O celestial globe, transmit to posterity the wisdom of the moon and stars, and obscure forever the transgressions of the princess. So they're hiding what she did, which is a curse mark upon her flesh. So let's go ahead and add in the statuette. There is also a statuette like this in the at the academy. Oops. Oh, look how it shifts. Cool. We're going to leave it there. If I removed it, I think it would shift it back. And look, yep, the whole thing's flipped over. See, and there's those hands, right? Because before they were there, but they didn't like come down. Like if I hit them, then yes, they came down and started trying to get us. I guess. You know what I should use? Yeah. Now look at this view, man. Look at the water flowing up, the water sitting there. It's so trippy and so cool. Oh, and look who it is, Preceptor Miriam. Now we know the Preceptor served the Carian family because that's what Celavis's stuff tells us. There's her bow. All right, where are we going? Got to deal with this whole crap again. And you can see, oh, look at all the things down there hanging off these sides. Oh, we need to go that way. I made a mistake. Good hit there. Oh, there's some puppet dudes. Get us a shield crash. Nice. Messing her up, dude. Don't you dare teleport away. Come on. No, dude. Oh, so close to getting rid of her. Ooh, a mask of confidence. Let's find what that says. Mask with the mouth sewn shut with gold thread. Increases arcane. When Radagon married Renala, he ordered the Carian magic preceptors to don these masks, to make it clear that all of their matters were to be kept strictly private. Now, why would he do that? Like, the old Pope, he says that there is, Muriel, right? He says that there's a skeleton in his closet, something he doesn't want people to know, and it's the famed sculptor glimpsed it and put out the secret in a statue. Now that hash mark is a lot like Radagon's Great Rune, and there's some other symbol at the top. I wonder if is that supposed to be like a star thing? I don't know. It's kind of crazy looking though. I do like it though. It's cool. We're gonna use it. Now, you definitely would have had these preceptors do that because, like, I mean, if they were close and served the royal family, they probably would have gotten wise with whatever he's trying to keep secret. So he had to swear them to secrecy, essentially. All right, if I can catch her in a shield crash, I think I can get her before she teleports away again. Just have to get these guys out of the way so I can actually get it. Yes, gotcha. Lucidity. Hey, I was just about to read it. One of the sorceries of the Carian royal family alleviates buildup of sleep and madness. The Carian knights never waver. Huh. Kind of hoping for some more things from there. And we made it to the elevator, which should take us down, right? Because it should have taken us up, but now it's taking us down, which is the equivalent of going up. Out we go, right? Oh, look at the rain pouring in, dude. And there's the Divine Tower. Hey, and there's Site of Grace. All right. Same thing with the bridge that we go across in Limgrave, right? Got these figures standing on it. Like, who is it just some stock statue and they just started putting him in random places? But they kept it consistent with, like, old places. You know what I mean? Like, it's across these Divine Tower areas. You find it on some of the random bridges. Find it in the Church of Absolution or Church of Vows next to that other Nox area. Like, it's not like you just find them in, it's not like you found a bunch of them in the Shaded Castle or all throughout any other areas. Like, they're in kind of specific places. That's like a little Divine Tower in miniature, I feel like. Looking at the side of it, it looks like it used to be part of like a rock area, right? Rocky section. Black Flame. A Godskin Apostle. He's got a rapier though. He's super large, but I mean, he's got the same like look as far as like the clothes he's wearing. Doing Black Flame things, but he has a tail. Look at that tail. There's a incantation. One. Oh, I was kind of hoping that would stagger him. I don't know why I thought it would that early, but you know, I had hopes. One more. Oh, he's still got another one. He's got like an apron and it's got like bunches of faces on it too. And if you actually get a good look onto his back, he's got, for some reason I thought he wasn't doing a second one. There's like a face on that part as well. Here comes phase 2, much like the Apostle did. Now look how he's got kind of like a, you know, same thing at the top, like some kind of purple broochy pendant deal. But on the bottom of the apron, he's got like a gold-ish symbol. And this is a crazy movement. Now the question is too, like he like inflated there. Ew, that was not a face. He inflated there, but is it like, so is he actually like large like this underneath his clothes? Or is it simply the robes, right? Now with the freaking tail and even the Apostle doing like that stretchy things, it's kind of giving me like aspects of the Crucible vibes, right? Where they can like, ears too, where they're like displaying various aspects. Like that tail is very snake-like to me. And then what does that one dude do? He like stretches out in like a in kind of a snake-like fashion as well. He's being very sturdy though. Ah, jeez. Even that big slam there does Black Flame stuff to us. Nice. Dagger again. And rip. Got him. Trousers underneath it. Godskin Noble hood. Robes. Trousers. So he's a noble. So not quite like the Apostle. Alright. Yeah, see the noble, or the Apostle has a big old gem section on the front, right? This one has got a small one. Yellowed eyes. Yellow having to do with the Grace, right? And if it comes from demigods, and those are all supposed to be offspring of America, that would make sense, right? Hood made by sewing together patches of smooth skin. Subcutaneous, I can't remember how to say the word. Subcutaneous fat makes it plump and soft. Worn by Godskin nobles. Nobles are the most ancient apostles who are said to have assimilated in human physiology. Not unlike the Crucible, the Erdtree in its primordial form. So these were like the first apostles who then went on to be nobles, but they've assimilated in human physiology. So it's like not something they were born, like it's something they like took, right? And so these are kind of getting some of the initial parts of that, like how it stretches out. But this one, like he stretches out, like he can do that. But this one, he actively has like another part of him, like a tail. Worn by Godskin nobles known for their 7-face aprons. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 faces. And there's like a weird emblem thing at the bottom too. It's so gross. It's the front. It's like a belly button. It's like, that emblem there at the bottom is kind of crazy looking. Now, something else to note, right? All faces. Is that another kind of like sewn in symbol right above it? And 7 faces. So if I remember right, if we go back to the village of Damanula, How many things are on this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 things on their little pendant. Is that an actual connection, or is it just a happenstance that it works that way? I don't know, but I mean, what do we also find next to these revelers in Dominula Village is a Godskin Apostle, right? But see, I don't think they're necessarily tied to the Crucible, right? Like, that's what was my thought at first, but it says not unlike the Crucible, the Erdtrine. So, like, they're similar to it, but it's not actually stemming from the same place. Now, since I'm on the thought, right, talking about the dancers of Dominula, we have the blue dancers that have the blue hood, and they supposedly have, like, are given to young maidens who have the most important role in the festival. Now they're also dancers, and they're wearing blue. What does that all kind of tie in with? It goes to the blue dancer charm. A dancer garbed in blue, an ancient heirloom of sorts. The dancer in blue represents a fairy who in legend bestowed a flowing sword upon a blind swordsman. Blade in hand, they then sealed away an ancient god, a god that was wrought itself. So is that festival originally supposed to be some, like, celebration of that? And that's why the blue, like, dancers have, like, the most important role, those maidens, is because they're supposed to represent the fairy who, like, I don't know. But the other thing is, it's only women there. There are no men there. The men are gone. All women. Very much like the, what's that place called in Bloodborne? Looks like a scarred mark. Same thing that was in the Caelid one as well. And down there, it's almost like script of sort. I kind of wondered if that's what I saw when I was doing the editing. I thought maybe there was, like, script on those parts, but I wasn't really sure. It does kind of look like it, though, doesn't it? Oh, I meant to check down. So it's probably the same thing as, like, when we look at the Limgrave one. When you look down those edges, it's just emptiness. Unlike, again, the Caelid one, which had the basement section. Now, why these apostles, right? Like, why is there one here? Why was there one in the other Divine Tower, right? That one, the apostle was down in the basement. But what was at the end of the basement? It was the god-slaying greatsword, the great black flame greatsword, wielded by the Gloam-eyed Queen. And it was the source where all the black flame for all the Godskin Apostles comes from. So he was probably in search of that. But now we got this noble dude outside this Divine Bridge. What's here in this Divine Bridge? Ranni's discarded flesh. But it's not necessarily the flesh itself we're interested in. It's what's on it. And there it is. Note how there's no 2 fingers. And I would also like to know, see this, like, ring around here in the center? It reminds me of, like, those sections when you get to the end of some mines and they have the, like, fancy design in there. And in the center of them is a gilded or, like, gold-hued meteorite ore. So was there supposed to be something similar here? But it's like dirt, dead-ish grass. Normally it's got 2 fingers, almost like it's burnt, right? And it's the same thing with her body. Look, it's just like a burned husk and carved into it. What do we see? It's like some big half curve with, like, little spokes sticking out like the centipede legs. She's also quite large, which, I mean, makes sense because, you know, Rennala is generally larger as well. All of the demigods seem to have larger sizes, but see how she's got, you know, bangles on the arms, but they've got, like, a red gem. Now, are they supposed to be red, or, you know, did that happen as time went on? It's interesting that they would be red when you consider that most of the Carian stuff or sorcerer things are typically, like, blue in nature. Now, I don't know that I picked up Rennala's stuff, right? We'll have to take a look at it from Enya, but her stuff also had some red things as well, but it's interesting that it is red. Curse mark of death and a Stargazer heirloom. So this is why the noble was coming up here, is because he wanted that curse mark, because it's part of the rune of death. First, let's look at the Stargazer rune or heirloom. The young astrologer gazed at the night sky as she walked. She had always chased the stars every step of her journey. Then she met the full moon, and in time, the astrologer became a queen. So that's Rennala, right? And the astrologers were, you know, the progenitors for the, the glintstone sorcerers. And, they gazed at the stars, but she met the moon, which ultimately enchanted the academy, right? And she, like, used it all to, like, make herself a queen. So I'd imagine that originally they probably came from the north, right? From like that she was from the northern reaches, from the mountaintop of giants, because that's where the astrologers were typically from, so they could gaze closer. But she might have wandered off from there, right? She always chased the stars, so maybe she chased it further down into Liurnia, and that's where she ended up meeting the moon. And another thing with the moon, right? We've seen 3 different like forms of like what the moon could be, right? We've got this black moon, the full moon, and then Ranni's dark moon. We've also seen that Ranni learning sorceries and stuff from her mother, who guided her to her own moon. And then there's also the snow crone, who taught Ranni to fear the dark moon. A lot of these ties go into the mother maiden crone thing, which has kind of cycles of the moon, cycles of womanhood, or life, and going from maiden to mother to crone. So a lot of similarities there. And then we've got the curse mark of death, and see how it looks like a centipede, right? It's a curse mark carved into the discarded flesh of Ranni the witch, also known as the half-wheel wound of the centipede, or maybe half-wheel wound of the centipede. This curse mark was carved at the moment of death of the first demigod, and should have taken the shape of a circle. However, 2 demigods perished at the same time, breaking the curse mark into 2 half-wheels. Ranni was the first of the demigods whose flesh perished, while the Prince of Death perished in soul alone. So when she conspired, right, with these black knives, she wanted to discard her flesh, right? It seemed like it was an intention. She had this whole plan of sorts. Now, they had to be done at the same time to break the curse mark into 2 half-wheels. Now, I had this thought before that they had gotten Godwyn as a sort of idea to like, sort of to test which half they got, right? Because if she wanted her flesh to perish and not necessarily her soul, then she would have wanted to have, right, she would need to make sure she had the right one. So she would have potentially used Godwyn to cut away into him, see what happened to him, and then use whatever she needed from there to get rid of her flesh. But if it had to be done at the same time, I wonder how she knew that her flesh would perish and not just her soul. I wonder why. I mean, it's probably just happenstance of appearance, right? But I mean, at the same time, I know it's not, because, Miyazaki does these things on purpose, right? It's a half wheel, or the wound of the centipede, right? And when we go and we look at the material for the centipede, see here, it looks very much the same as that half wheel. Desiccated remains, kept as a fetish by Golden Order fundamentalists, especially the hunters of those who live in death, right? So it's a fetish. It's something they use for their like beliefs. And the fundamentalists had some idea of like looking into the truth, or the true meaning of like the Golden Order or the Erd Tree, right? But then you've got these hunters of those who live in death. An interesting thing, this kind of ties in a little bit, I would say, with Sekiro, and which is why I think he chose the centipede, because in there you have these undying monks who have centipede things inside of them that keep them from dying. You see the same with the guardian ape, that you have to cut it out and use a mortal blade to sever its immortality. And so I think he used it as the same thing, because now you've got this essentially demigods who can't die, but one who died only in soul. And so I think he thought it would be a fun connection to use the centipedes that in the previous game were what made immortality happen. A sort of like cursed immortality, though, cursed life. So I think that's pretty interesting. But unfortunately, Rajir's gone. So what are we going to do with this thing? The only thing we have left of him was to seek out Dee's brother, who's in the aqueducts of Shifa River. So we might do that next. Or I want to do that next. But I want to go through Leyndell as well. But we might... It's so tough to choose what to do. You know what I mean? I'll think about it a little bit and I'll decide what I want it to be. But thank you for joining me. I hope you guys found it interesting. I think I've cleared up what I want to do for this video. I don't know that there's necessarily anything else for us to do. Yeah, so until the next one, take care.